Hello and welcome to the Missed Q, a theater podcast. I'm your host, Ricky. With me is my co-host, Jackie.
Hi.
And on today's episode, we are going to be with Marcelo and Stephanie. How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing real good. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for being here. We all go way back. We all have a lot of history with the theater and everything. And actually, we've had this episode planned for a couple weeks now. And I thought it was funny because I went to see High School Musical at Grace Arts Live last night. And who do I see? But not only my co-host Jackie, but I see Marcelo and then Stephanie as well. So we were all at the theater last night seeing High School Musical. So real quick, since we're on that subject, what did you guys think of the show last night? We'll start with you, Stephanie.
Well, considering that I've known Ian since he was 3, and I was just amazed at how far he's come, and he's so tall and you're so big.
I know they're really great, and his voice is so deep.
Yes, his voice has definitely changed. It's amazing.
It's deeper than mine, I feel like.
For me, it's I just met Ian when we just did Peter Pan just a few months ago, and to see him as just a regular ensemble pirate to a lead role like this, it was awesome. You know, because ensemble parts are very important, but we don't really shine. We're there to support, you know. He did great in that, and to see him as Troy Bolton, and really, honestly, I was so impressed by that vocal range. I was like, my God, the kid killed it.
Yeah, some of those harmonies were like, oh, man.
I wish I could harmonize like that.
Yeah, and they're at such a young age, too. I think about where I was at their age. I wasn't even involved in theater.
Well, and the fact that it wasn't a junior show, so it was the regular show. Mm-hmm. So the harmonies that are there in that music actually are written for adult voices. They are not written for teenage voices.
Dope.
So like the fact that they were able to hit some of those harmonies was amazing.
Right.
Shout out to Ian.
And they weren't asking for key changes or anything like that. They just kind of sang it as it was written.
Yeah, and there were a couple places where I know Ian was like, it's a little high. And then so they found a way for him to sing it a different way. Or he like just sucked it up and sang it high. But it took a lot of extra work on his part, which was really great to see him like analyzing, okay, I can sing a little more here. I need to pull back here. Like, because I mean, I've known Ian since he was in my theater club at Jamaica. He came to Jamaica for that club. And then to see him from that to now, I'm like, I was so proud of you.
So was that during the same time as Mary Poppins then?
Yeah.
Because that was my first show with Ian.
That was his first show.
Yeah, it was his first show, and Stephanie was in that as well.
It was.
That was great. So it's definitely been interesting seeing his growth from playing Little Michael to playing Troy Bolton. It's been incredible. But
And we make this totally the Ian show because
we could.
I will tell you that I know Chris through some mutual friends, his dad, and we were at a pool party. And we were talking about theater, and he goes, I saw you. And we were talking about it, and he said, Ian would really like to start doing something like that. And I said, come on down. And he came to auditions, and then he got into Mary Poppins. And Chris even said last night, he said, I'm so amazed because without that little encounter,
yeah, it's crazy.
all our friends, everybody we hang with, you know.
Right?
Yeah, it's crazy how that happens. And actually, you were in my first show back in 2001. And I'll never forget it. It was my first rehearsal ever, and it was obviously music rehearsal. And, you know, they typically start at the top of the show, the first song and all the way through. And the first song in The Sound of Music is in the Abbey. And who did you play?
The Mother Superior.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And you've heard her sing, so you can imagine how that sounded.
I'm like, I need to see this.
It was so good. And I remember being at that first rehearsal and just hearing these beautiful voices. And obviously the first one I heard was Stephanie. And just in that first moment, I'm like, this is incredible. So, you know, first impressions are everything. And my first impression of musical theater was hearing your amazing voice.
No.
And here I am now, 20 some odd years later, still doing it. So you were one of the many inspirations I had, for sure. But that was definitely a moment I'll never forget.
You're going to make her cry.
Thank you. Don't start making me cry already.
It's going to be an emotional episode.
But that wasn't your first show, right?
No.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about, let's go back to how you got started in theater and how you developed a love for it.
Well, I have to say that my love for musicals, musical theater, goes way back when I was a kid with my mom. We'd sit in front of our big console stereo with the soundtrack albums stacked, and we would just sing. We'd just sing, try to do all the parts, try to do all that. So, and then in school, going through drama and going through musical theater in school. So, did it through my high school years mostly.
Okay.
And I also played the Mother Superior my senior year in high school.
Oh,
So that was,
wow. So your vocal training then, what's that?
I had never had a voice lesson until I was in my 30s, 40s, maybe. It was just through school.
Yeah.
Choir, jazz choir, doing that kind of stuff. And then we went into doing musical theater. So I guess public education, that was my training. Yay.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we were talking about just wondering about your where you learned how to be amazing.
Oh, goodness.
Basically, I've always been smitten by you.
Well, because I was telling Ricky, I was like, I knew you before I knew Ricky, before I knew any of the Grace Arts people from singing with you at church and in church choir and things like that. And I was like, I knew you had an amazing voice then. And then I find out you're on the stage. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay.
Well, the funny thing is that when I moved to Lake Havasu, I was 29-ish, I think. And I was working over at a bank, and I met somebody in town, and he met Jerry, and he said, hey, your mother-in-law said that you sing and stuff. Have you ever thought about doing musical theater? There's a college course over at MCC at the time, and I go, oh no, I couldn't afford college tuition and all that kind of stuff. And he goes, well, it's not. It's just like a extra class, yeah. So it's not like you're going all the way through college,
Right.
It was just like an elective.
Yeah. So he goes, go audition. I'm like, I'm just thinking, you don't know me. And he says, no, seriously, go audition. He says, my company does scholarships and stuff like that. So audition. I'll pay your tuition. You get in, I'll pay your tuition. And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? Oh, gosh. So I'm like, why not? It was The King and I. And I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do something for me and go and do something I love to do. So I went to the auditions, and then I got a call back, and then I got cast as Lady Tang. And so I was like, I got in. I got in. And he's like, not only did you get in, you got one of the lead roles.
Yeah.
And so
She was one of those people.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to some people later. I was talking to Grace and somebody else, and they said, who are you? Where did you come from?
That's awesome. I
love that.
Yeah, some of these people that come out of the woodwork. I had no idea you were one of those woodwork people.
The things you learn.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. Marcelo,
Yeah.
you've had some vocal training? Yes or no? No?
No.
We're all just
We're going in,
Hey, I've had vocal training. Don't even.
Oh,
yeah, well, you're not. We're talking
Sorry.
about the guests here.
Oh, okay. Just the
So I know your first show with in town here was Footloose.
Yep.
Your first show ever?
Yep.
Okay, so what brought you in?
It's funny because I was, I believe, in 8th grade or freshman year. But a mutual friend of ours, Molly and Janelle, they were already doing Grace Arts, and they're like, hey, we need guys. You should come down because, you can sing and you're our friend. Like, you should try it out. And I was like, okay, sure. I didn't audition. I didn't know where the studio was. They gave me the address to the theater, and the first music rehearsal for that show was at the theater. And I remember showing up super early.
Of course you did.
right. Of course, I'm not surprised at all by that.
I showed up super early. I'm like, man, this place is closed. Like, I didn't know about it, So, and then, we kind of go through the whole motions, and I just loved it. I it was nice because I knew people there already and got to meet new people. That's where, I met you.
That's where we met. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was such a great experience. I made great friendships and family along the way there with that show. It's when I met Tyler Fallis and Cameron Marin as well. So the rest was kind of just history.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, "Come along," and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, and it was a good time.
It was a great time.
Wow.
I think what I took away from that most was that they needed guys in the theater.
We still do.
We still
Still
need guys.
always
If
need
you're
guys.
listening and want to do musical theater, come on down.
It's hard, man.
It is.
It's difficult. And I didn't know anything about the audition, process and the way you're supposed to do it. So it was a shocker the next show that I did because I actually had to audition.
Oh, and they
No.
never even explained the process. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I for my first audition ever, I didn't know you had to sing. That's how ignorant I was, and
man.
I just showed up. Like, what do you want? And they're like, a song. I'm like,
You're like, I don't have one of those.
So I know what it's like being unprepared. So what did you do?
I sang. I just didn't know that I had to bring like sheet music or a CD. I brought my guitar and I played Aha, Take on Me.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was for Into the Woods Junior. And I ended up getting Rapunzel's Prince.
Oh, that's right. I remember
Nice.
seeing that. And Tyler was the Cinderella's.
Yes,
prince.
that was a good time. Looking back, it's so cringy, but I love it. We were like teenagers, like trying to be this like big, prince. Yeah,
Those are such good roles.
yeah,
That's such a good show, too.
it was. I would love to do that show again.
So that was your second show?
That was my second show.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy. So what's been your favorite show that you've done since? How long ago was that? That was 2010. Footloose.
Yeah,
So it's been 14 years.
Yeah.
So let's, just for fun, let's just jump to one of your last shows. Your last show was Peter Pan. You played a pirate. I want to jump a little bit before that, which was Usnavi in the Heights.
yeah.
Legendary performance.
Thank you. I was super nervous. It was. I had multiple people calling, reaching out to me to get to go for this role, and I just wasn't sure because of the timing. I had school, I had work, the kids, and I hadn't done theater in a minute. I did Chuck for Footloose again for when they did it 10 plus years later.
Yeah, which was amazing. You were so mean. Totally out of character.
Yeah, it is, because going from like Chuck to Usnavi, it's such a huge shift in personality.
Oh, yeah.
But I was so nervous because I had heard of, In the Heights, but I had never dove in. I didn't know anything of it. I just knew Hamilton before In the Heights. I knew
Okay.
Lin-Manuel Miranda's this amazing person that can write, that can sing, that can rap, but I didn't dive into it. And it wasn't until I had to do the research for it where I was like, oh my God.
You must have been pleasantly surprised.
Wait.
like, okay.
You did not
No.
know the show before we had.
Nope.
I know. I was like, I don't believe it. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
believe
embarrassing.
it.
Honestly, it's embarrassing because then like I'm in love with it. It's one of those we listen
No,
to
and
it.
I'm not saying it that way. I'm saying it that because you came in and you were so confident, and
had to.
knowing the words and doing that. I thought it was just something that
You've
you
been listening
listened
to
to all the
forever.
time.
No, I asked Grace in advance for music and for script, just because once I did the research for it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the lead, and I'm telling this story. I am what keeps the pace going.
Yes.
I've never had a role like that before, so it was very scary.
Feels like the whole show's riding on you.
Oh, and it really did. I it really felt like that. You can ask my coworkers. Anytime I had a free chance, I had my script on me at all times. I was listening. I was reading. I was at home. Anywhere I went, I'm listening. And else I can tell you, she got tired of it pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. I'll bet.
But it was such a great role. I learned so much from it, and I'm very, very honored and happy to be able to do something like that. I met Stephanie. That was my first show with Stephanie.
Yeah, so that's
kinda
another thing.
full
Is
circle
when,
here.
when I realized, because you were in it as well. So tell us a little bit about the character you played and your journey.
I played Abuela Claudia, and literally, it was my my grandmother, my tias. It was just something that so emotional for me, just because all the kids I've seen grown up in the theater and stuff, and how much I love them. This role, that was that motherly role, and I was very excited about it. And when I saw it in the Heights in the movie, because I didn't have like theater to go to,
Oh, yeah.
you know, that was my first. But I kept looking online trying to find little
Yeah.
snippets.
And the movie, they made quite a few changes.
Yes,
in
they
there. Did you YouTube any of the clips or?
I did. I ended up YouTubing the whole show and watching it, and then promptly went back and watched it again and again and again. I loved the music. I loved that it brought so much Latino culture, like all different diversities of Latino culture into one area. And I thought, this show is amazing.
Yeah, it's a great show. And when it came to my attention that you two had never worked together, didn't know each other, and I've seen the show. I went to Phoenix, the Phoenix Theater Company, and saw it years ago. And when I heard that the parts you two were playing, there was no doubt in my mind that you two would have immediate chemistry, because I know your personalities, you know, and I just know the type of people you are. I just knew that you guys would have amazing chemistry, and for me, it was one of those like, okay, this is going to be good. I can't wait to see this.
It was very, very scary for me, though. It's going to be hard for me to talk about, because I had been out of the theater for a couple of years because I almost passed from COVID, and then I lost my voice. I had vocal paralysis along with long COVID, and I kept thinking, okay, audition's going to be coming up. Am I going to do it this season? And then I tried to sing, and nothing would come out, and it scared me. I thought, that's it. I'm never going to be able to do this again. And then when In the Heights came out, that she was going to do it, I'm like, I've got to work on this.
I think there was quite a few of us that know you and have known you for years that were like, that couldn't see anybody else. Well, we couldn't picture anybody else playing this role. And I know how happy a lot of people were when you got cast.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For me, I had never met you. And so I saw the cast list, and I did a little bit of research on the Facebook, you know.
I messaged him.
Little Facebook
him.
Yeah.
After the cast list came out, I messaged him. I'm like, you get to act with Stephanie.
This is cracking me up.
Marcelo was like, "Who's Stephanie?"
I'm like, bro, you don't even know.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't even know how lucky
Verbatim.
you are.
And so I look you up, and instantly I'm like, you look just like my grandmother. So the second we got to have that moment, not musically rehearsing, but like on stage, I felt that instant connection. Like, you are my abuela. And so a lot of this, it's very close and it hits home. Doing alabanza every night was hard for me, because I was there for my grandmother's passing as well. So it fueled, and it gave me the tools to like really give it every time. I tried to not overdo it, because we still have a whole scene to do, and I don't want to bring anyone else down. But just having that relationship with my real grandmother and you, my abuela, on stage, it was instant, you know. It hits home, you know.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because in rehearsals and everything else, that Latino culture that everybody shared, and it was like walking into somebody's house, and you instantly, oh, hi, mijo, how are you? Hug, kiss, you know.
Yeah.
And then, okay, let's get in rehearsals, and that was like every single rehearsal.
Every day.
There was always that greeting, and always that.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that can be typical across a lot of different shows, but I feel like from an outsider looking in, just the way that particular cast interacted with each other, that seemed to be on a different level. Definitely. So you guys had
We were
a lot of
tight.
connections.
We were very tight, and like even with Durand, our guest Benny, we all clicked with him as well. You know, and it goes back to the whole Latin community, how we're all close, regardless of skin or where exactly you're from. You can look at all the different Latin communities, Mexican, Honduras, Salvadorian, Puerto Rican, they all have that unity. They're all very close. Whether, you did me dirty once, cool. You need help, we're here for you. And that's what's nice about this theater. Like for me, instance, like I went MIA from the theater for years. I had kids. I started working on school and all that, but I come back, and every time I do, I'm always welcomed back. And it's like we never skipped a beat. How long did we go without really seeing each other?
Yeah.
But when we do, it's boom, 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 instant.
I was so excited when you got back into the theater, and then I literally haven't done a show with you since. So, but it's nice to have you back, I guess.
Yeah. When are we doing a show?
I don't know. We'll have to see what auditions bring.
Yeah. For sure.
We all got to audition.
Yeah. Yes,
But I
we
think
do.
that's a great point. Like everyone is often so nervous, especially when you're new coming in. I mean, I'm someone who I've done theater my whole life. I moved to Havasu and I didn't do it for 12 years. And then I'm like, okay, I'm finally going to get back in. I knew I could sing. I knew I could do the things, but I was nervous about getting back into it. And then I'm like, all right, it's a theater. It's a theater family. I will be welcomed in immediately. And it will be like I have been there all along.
For sure.
Like,
Well, in between doing the theaters when it was part of MCC versus being at the Grace Arts Theater, I didn't do it for a while. So, and I was working out of town. How could I get into rehearsals? That kind of stuff. I always thought that I wasn't going to have enough time,
right.
or I'd end up being late, or all of those things.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you've done a lot of roles though, and I know you were very missed during your absence from the stage. I've always said, and you guys have seen her on stage, I've always said you're like the Meryl Streep of our theater. I mean, who would argue with me?
Right.
No one.
Me?
You don't count. But I truly believe that there's definitely been. I'm all about the moments, and those actors that can really stay in the moment and be in their moment, in that moment. And you're definitely one. And I remember one particular performance in Little Women.
Oh.
That was a character, and there wasn't like a scene in particular. Just in general, your portrayal in that show was very deep, and you formed these bonds with these girls, and you can tell. That's another thing. It's like you make it so easy to have chemistry with you. I don't know if that's because you just adapt to who you're working with, or like I don't know how to describe it, but that had to be such a special show for you.
It was absolutely, because again, watching the kids grow up and into these roles, and I was very close with Chloe because we sang at our church together, and then meeting her friends and all that kind of stuff. But I had done the shows with some of the girls before, and maybe it's because I never had kids of my own that I'm always somebody's tia, I'm always somebody's auntie, and so that love, that bond, it doesn't go away. And I think that's what within the Heights, everybody called me abuela, except for Jake. He's always called me tia for years before that. So, but with those girls, absolutely. And knowing, I love that movie growing up, seeing it, all the different versions that there were of it. And knowing in that time it was with the war and having the father away, and they were taking care of their neighbors and all of that. It was very deep. And I think that bond with people coming together as a unity in a community meant everything.
Yeah, you're just always so good at really getting that deep performance of any role you do. So.
Well, and I'm curious now. I feel like a couple of the roles that we've talked about that you've played are very motherly or compassionate, those type of roles. Is there a specific role type that you love to play? Like a character type that you're like, ooh, when that role comes, I want that one.
Or are you sick of being
or are you like,
people's
give me
grandmother?
someone else, something else?
Well, I will have to say, when I was in 9 to 5 and I played Roz, that was completely something that I've never done before. But I played a nun in
A couple shows.
a couple shows. Sound of Music. I played a nun in
Were you in nonsense?
no,
Never nonsense.
never none.
What? You got to complete the nun cycle.
Wow.
Gotta
Seriously.
complete the cycle.
Can't have none of that.
Oh my
Sister Act.
Oh
I played
yeah,
another
Sister
spirit in
Act.
that one, and so that was fun because it was a little bit more of an irreverent kind of.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
And then we did 9 to 5, and I, I told Lauren, I go, you remember the last role I was a nun, right? And you have me cat crawling on the floor.
Wait a minute.
Wow.
Lauren pushes the boundaries of theater, whether it's the show choice or.
She said, how comfortable are you? And I said, tell me what you want me to do. I'll do it. You tell me if
Right.
that's okay.
Yeah. It's nice that they ask though.
Right?
But I, classic old Broadway, I love doing that kind of stuff too. But I'm older now, so I'm gonna get those
Oh, yeah.
grandmotherly,
Yeah.
motherly stuff, and so. But it's always good just to have those moments that are written for you that you don't have to
Yes.
real life.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Marcelo? Are there specific role types character types you enjoy playing?
I wouldn't say enjoy.
Okay, are good at, do well.
I see myself being casted in big mean roles. You know, it's happened a few times, like West Side Story, where I was Bernardo, not really
Well,
not a bad guy, but he's very fixed and stuck in his ways.
right.
I was Injun Joe in Tom Sawyer.
Oh.
I was Pedro in Man of La Mancha.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's not that I don't like it. I obviously get casted in these roles because I can do it, and it has to do with my stature.
I was gonna say,
I can do the face. It's hard for me though to really connect to those roles just because I'm not a mean person.
I'm like, that's so
Try
opposite
not.
to
Yeah,
you
that's
in real
why.
life.
That's why I know a few people were like, "Wow, he's really playing Chad in Footloose like really well," like because you're not like that at all. But yeah, that's the fun challenge though.
It is, and that's what I was getting at. It really makes you have to put on that performance, really dig deep. Like, yeah, I don't align with these characters, but I have to do it. I'm pretty open with anything. Anything with a challenge, and again, Usnavi was that big challenge for me. It really made me comfortable with not being comfortable, and having that responsibility of like, I have a whole scene, I have whole songs, I'm center stage. Never had it before. I've been supporting roles before, but never important roles in this aspect,
Right.
And I'm glad I got it because it really made me have to push and work for it,
Yeah, and I mean, you were surrounded by not only Stephanie but a great cast. You really had a lot of talent.
Yeah, the whole cast was so
It was
talented.
awesome. You had like Grace said, Stephanie, and we had a lot of ensemble people that were usually leads. You had Peyton, you had Bailey, we had Josiah, we had
Jake.
Betsy, Jake, we had Chloe. I mean, I had also never done a show with Chloe before. I have known of Chloe. We had talked in the past, but never done a show with Chloe. And she kills it every time.
Yeah, she kills it.
Oh,
She's great to work with.
Oh, absolutely.
And the fact that there were so many supporting roles in that show itself, and you had that it highlighted the whole different places in the neighborhood. That was
It did.
Everybody understood the assignment.
100%.
Yeah.
We cooked.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So if you could choose, like, let's base it off of genre then, like comedy or drama. Would you rather be the comic relief or the serious, like?
It's hard to choose just because I want to really have a diverse palette. I want to be able to do these serious dramatic roles, but also be the comedic relief. With Uznavi, it's like he tried. Like, the way I was seeing it is, he's not suave like in the movie.
He was you.
He's
bro.
yeah.
He was you.
I was like, yeah.
He's
Like,
awkward.
bless his heart. What a good guy.
Yeah, you know, like he's awkward, tries to be like smooth, but at the end of the day, he's a nice guy, you know? And it's why I felt like
You described yourself.
I'm like, yeah. So you?
yeah, and that's why I feel like that role fit very well for me. And I'm glad I took it. I was really not gonna do it. And I'm glad I did.
Wow.
Gosh, I can't imagine anyone else doing that role now.
Yeah,
Like,
because I sent in an audition tape.
Oh, yeah?
And you beat me. Well, I think one of your best performances that nobody knows about is the puppeteer in Little Shop of Horrors.
Thanks.
Yeah. He was the man in the plant.
that had to be exhausting.
It was so exhausting. We did it. It was what, like April, March?
Yeah.
It was hot.
It was a
I
little
remember
warm.
that. And I was going through Gatorade and water like no other.
Well, because the first you do every little puppet,
Yeah,
right? So the
every
first
puppet.
thing is doing the hand one on the table. You're inside the table and just your hands out.
gosh.
And then by the end of the show, you're like
I'm
doing your whole body.
Like
right?
eating people.
Yeah. So like it was cool because it was very roomy and I almost fell asleep one time because I was so exhausted.
It's so warm. That must be
It-
like being in the womb.
it really felt like it. I'm in there and I just remember I think it was Lauren or Scott. It was one of the last people that I ate. But I remember the music went up and I did not go up. And all I felt was a hit on the top lip. And then I was like, "Oh dear God, I'm going to miss a cue."
There's no excuse.
And
No
there's no
excuse
excuse
for a
I gotta
later
eat-
miscue.
I gotta eat this person. And I mean, it was cool because it was a full body. Like my legs were the bottom portion and my torso was the top, and I could just like, just hunch over and I'm this giant plant.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
It was a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, I wish I didn't really have much time during that to really notice, because I was so curious about it. But
Yeah.
I had come in to play the dentist
Yep.
4 days before opening night, so I didn't really get a chance to see. But I was always so curious. I'm like, I want to see how he fits in this plant. But I was always frantically running the line, so I always missed you like climbing into it or whatever. I'm like, wait, how did you do that?
You're like, wait, go back, get out. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember just before Act 2, I would have to go in, and Tom and I believe it was LJ at the time would help me bring this whole like 3-piece giant plant suit, and I would just sit there from beginning Act 2 to the end, just there.
Gosh. Oh man, people don't think about that.
And even like with Harrison back in Peter Pan,
Mm-hmm.
like that Croc suit. My God, that kid was sweaty
I
every
know.
night.
It looked so good.
because he would go from the dog
Yeah.
to a pirate to the croc to the dog to, like, he was always
He's running.
one of them.
Yeah. And kudos to them. Like these, like you said, these roles that go unannounced sometimes. They're
Yeah.
so
They're like
important.
underappreciated.
Yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
dude, just the struggle watching him walk in that croc suit, like
I
trying
know.
to get. And I remember the one rehearsal, they were like, "Okay, you're gonna climb up the stairs on the
Oh,
ship," and he was like, "I
I
can't,
can't see.
They're like, "Just climb forward." He's like, "I can't see," and then it's like the nose of the croc was like hitting the stairs, and Lauren was like, "Just climb up," and he's like, "I can't." She's like, "Just stay there. Just rest your head down."
Yeah.
Or Harrison. Also, Harrison killed it in high school.
Yeah.
Can we go back?
Oh my gosh,
He
he
shined. I feel bad when I go watch the performance because I feel like I have a very distinctive laugh, like a hyena, very loud.
You and me
You-
both.
and you?
And we were
I'm-
sitting right
right.
in the seats right
Oh
in front
yeah.
of each
And I'm cackling. He dropped this line. We were talking about it before we came here, and I just think about it, just the way it was, either the timing or just how way he said it. I died. I was cackling.
Harrison's delivery.
Yes. It was good. I loved it.
Oh my gosh, the best part was on Friday night, where the pie gets.
They showed me,
Oh my gosh, and it totally missed Bailey and went on to Harrison, and his face was just like,
So Harrison got hit with a pie instead of Bailey on Friday
Oh
night.
gosh.
some of the kids had some like TikTok edit already from it. It was hilarious.
of course they did.
These kids are savages.
Yeah.
Insane. No,
yeah.
they're like, oh my gosh. But he did so well. I was
good.
so impressed.
Yeah, this whole
So
cast.
fun,
And shout out to Ali. I didn't know that she directed this until
yeah.
right before we went on. I was like, what? Really?
Well, let me tell you, one of the shows that I love doing that I was called in to do at the last minute was Matilda. And being able to perform with all the kids.
You and these
God.
roles.
Seriously.
Gosh.
I loved it. But I had to make her more of not the Jamaican librarian, kind of threw a little Latin Thea in there.
Yeah, because you always deliver such an emotional performance. Your facial expressions are everything, and it's never overdone. It's always just right.
I loved it because she's telling the story, and I'm just so into it, and like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I love that part of it, and I think sometimes I scared her.
Oh, I'm sure. They're not ready for Stephanie. They don't know what she's bringing to the table. That's great. So, out of all of these shows, what's been one of your favorites? And it's tough to pick. What's one of your favorites?
Okay, I love Little Women. That's near and dear to my heart. But I have to say, In the Heights, playing Abuela Claudia was the most meaningful because, one, coming back after so long and just having that cast and the story, it made my heart happy.
Mm-hmm. And that's what it's about. That's what it's all about.
That's why we do theater.
That's why we do theater. To make our heart happy.
Yes.
What about you, Marcelo?
It's honestly the same as Stephanie. I've done great roles in the past. I've done
Cool. I wasn't in your guys' favorite show. Cool. Awesome.
Even though you've been in shows with them before, they're trying to tell you something, Ricky.
I know. We always have a great time when Ricky's not in the cast.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it like Stephanie said, it's so near and dear to me, and it's Usnavi and In the Heights. Again, getting to meet Stephanie and getting to meet and have this cast that we had
With a lot of new
Yes.
to theater people.
Yeah, I haven't worked much with most of these kids nowadays, and it's crazy to think it's like I was one of these teenagers, years ago, and now I'm this lead role, getting to work with you, Duran, Chloe, everyone that we got to, Alex. It was just perfect. It all just fits, and we meshed so well. It's just natural to me to be with Snavi, and if I could do it again, I'd do it, in a heartbeat.
I don't think anybody would argue with that.
No.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, what about roles that you have never had the chance to play that you would love to play? So that's coming your way after that.
So, and it goes back to the comedy drama. Drama wise, I've always wanted to either be Javert or Andras. Either one.
Wow.
Yes. I was practicing so much when we did Les Mis forever ago. And at the time, Amelia, I don't think she was born yet, or she was just about to be. But I couldn't make it to audition. So I was like, I'm not going to do it. I can't. I've always loved that role of Andras. But if not, Javert. Comedy-wise, that's a tough one. The Pirate King from Pirates of Penzance.
Oh man, I literally was just saying like I would love to play that role.
Yeah. You know who kills it every time? Tyler. Guy just
Yeah, dude. You know what? The first time I ever saw it, Bill Weldon played the Pirate King.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He killed it. He
Did
killed
he?
it. Yeah, it was
I
so
can
funny.
see it.
Well, and I'd never seen the show before, so I mean, the show itself is hilarious.
Yeah.
And Bill being that like Pirate King, that's yes, he's so great at that. Gosh, yeah, what a funny role. So what about you?
Well, coming from classic theater, doing that and listening to those albums with my mom and soundtracks would Fiddler on the Roof, Golda.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh, you would be so good. They're not ready for you.
I've done Yenta twice with MCC and then over at Grace Arts Live, but I always wanted to do Golda just because the emotion part of it.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little too old for it now, but
Any other roles like?
If we were going Les Mis, then I would say The Innkeeper's Wife.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yes, that's such a fun one.
Man,
Well, I always love the good songs, That's just
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you always perform the hell out of anything. I mean, I have always found it difficult to just stand and sing. I have a tendency to like perform like physically while I'm singing. I don't know if that's maybe to distract people. Like, don't judge me
From your
by
singing?
solely my voice. Look over here. Look what I'm doing. But you can just stand and sing and evoke so much emotion out of the audience. And I just think it's awesome that you're back doing it on a regular basis, and that the Lake Havasu audience gets the treat of seeing what you can do.
Thank you. Yay. You make me cry.
Good.
And then, having Marcelo back, I understand life's busy. You and I both have kids, but our kids are getting into the theater now.
Yeah, they are.
They were Lost Boys together in
they
Peter
were.
Pan.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were. And I can't wait, for the workshops. And I hope both Sin and Amelia continue to do this. This is Amelia's first time doing it. This would be Sin's second time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think we should, just for fun, make a video of our boys reenacting our scene from West Side Story, because I played Riff and he played Bernardo.
Oh
and just
my gosh.
face to face, face it out. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Like, Cinna, this guy wants to fight.
The role.
You need to get your stuff.
Yeah, the War Council scene.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Bottles, knives, guns.
Bottles, knives, guns.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So yeah, and that's awesome. And again, that's the new generation coming in, and we've seen so many people come and go through this theater, and I mean, I started when I was a teenager. So did you, and you were inspiration. You've been an inspiration to every generation that's gone through the theater in some way or another. Even during your hiatus, you were still used as an example for just performance wise, and I know that some people I like to use past examples, of performances, especially if I like Rod Lockman, for instance. He's one I literally, and I still keep in touch with him when I need advice on a role. Literally, the last show I did a few months ago, I reached out to Rod and I said, "Hey, man, I need some advice on this." And he gave me his opinion. And so I just think you're just a legend in my mind. Definitely one of those people. When I was younger, I'm going, "Oh my gosh, I really want to do." I don't know about you, Marcelo, but there's always been like, I want to do a scene with this actor.
Yeah.
Stephanie was one of those people. Jason, the Weldons.
Yeah.
Jerry Aldridge back in the day. It was awesome, and I always looked at you in that capacity. And so you've helped me become the performer I am today. So, and I am honored that you were on our podcast. So you're definitely one of the first people we thought of as a guest.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I think you're a staple in Lake Havasu Theater.
Thank you. And I had so much fun when I would perform with your dad and with, going back and doing a cabaret with Rod.
Oh, yeah.
That this is, I hadn't performed with him since I can't even remember. So that was great that he got to play my love in.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't care how small the moment is. Like I said, I love just taking away moments. And one of those for me was when I was standing as the MC on that chair with a pineapple in hand, and I had Rod and Stephanie, and I'm like, this is awesome. But, nobody else sees it like that.
Right.
And I'm like, this is cool. But I'm like literally pretty much invisible in the scene, It was such a small little tidbit in the show, but that sort of thing just meant a lot to me, because I always appreciate who I'm on stage with and the talent, and it's not lost on me how fortunate I am to be on stage with people like you.
And I loved it during when we did Mary Poppins and you were doing your tap dancing scene. I was always right there on the side watching him on the on the harness to see how he was going to do his tap dancing scene. That was fun.
Yeah, and you had the distinct pleasure of walking across stage with my dad quite a bit during that show.
Absolutely.
Well, the name of our podcast is The Missed Cue, so we have to ask. We ask everyone, have you ever missed a cue?
I've missed a cue in the sense where I forgot to go back after a scene change and to grab a prop off scene.
Which, if you ask a stage manager, that is a
That is a miscue.
100%.
I was very fortunate, and it was for Peter Pan, actually, just recently.
Oh wow.
Yes,
Oh.
it was
Oh,
just recent.
Veteran actor missing a cue.
Wow.
Yeah, you
Go
know,
on.
and it was we had to do a scene change, but we also had to do other things. I forget exactly. I think it was when we go across stage again. It goes the Lost Boys and the Natives.
Oh
and the
yeah.
Pirates. So I have to grab the thing that carries Captain Hook, and I ran off to go grab it because there's always a traffic jam right there on stage right. And so stage left.
Yeah.
Stage left, sorry. Edit.
Veteran of the theater.
And I come back and Ivan's like, you forgot to grab the stump, but I got you. I was like, oh, thanks, man. Mel didn't see it. You know, Lauren didn't
Well,
see
you
it.
just
No
called
one-
yourself out, though.
I did.
So.
Well, you asked. So.
So Ivan helped you out.
Ivan's the goat.
Ivan
Saving the
is-
day.
Ivan saved me during Elf.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah. You know.
Yeah. So other than that, I think that's the only miscue I've had.
Okay.
I've
Have
come
you ever been
close.
affected by somebody else's missed cue?
Yes, musical cue in the Heights. There was at the beginning. It was the right where the Piragua guy comes in.
Okay, I was gonna say, don't ruin Stephanie for me now.
No.
Just went off on her.
He's like, actually.
No, it was I just did my part, the intro, and the Piragua guy comes in, and then music went back, and so he had to stop singing, but he was already on stage, and then it went forward to my part, and I'm just like, go. It took me for a surprise. It was like a good 10-second jump.
Oh, that's exciting. Though.
It was rough, dude.
What a
It was-
rush.
It's like, yeah, I'm like, the rush of that, though.
And
It
because
was-
there's it's words. It's
It's words,
Right.
and you know the track. It's not like musically where you can just like pick up. It's just like it's not
Right.
something you can just be like, I got it.
So it's like, so it's just in a vamp or what?
It was not yes and no. It was the maracas. It was just maracas,
Okay.
and yeah, you know when the piragua guy comes in, it's just maracas, and then it went back to me going, "Hey guys, good morning," and then it went forward to. Reports of my fame are greatly exaggerated. It went backwards and then all the way forwards, and it just took me a hot like 5 seconds to just catch it. And man, I just remember I was just so like, this is the opening scene.
Right.
The rest of the show,
You're like,
was-
I have the rest of the show to try to keep this together.
Yes.
Well, it's only uphill from here.
Yeah. I was like, well, this Sunday's gonna suck.
Oh wow.
Well, and that's one of the difficulties of performing a show with tracks versus a live orchestra, because
Yes.
a live orchestra the conductor can catch it and then get
Yes.
back on with you, but with the track, like, you're just out
Yeah,
there.
you have to
Yeah.
know that track
You
really
have
well.
to.
100%. Yeah. But yeah, it was rough. It was actually a very, very rough miscue, I guess.
Yeah, it sounds stressful.
It was very stressful. I was not happy the rest of the day. Because I'm like, oh, my first scene, dude, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Carmen did the best that she could. I can understand that she might have hit something, went back, she tried to go forward, but went too far. And I can only imagine how she felt. She was probably so distraught from that.
oh, yeah.
You know? But going back, I do miss having an orchestra.
Yeah. But then we wouldn't have Carmen.
Sure.
Yeah, true.
And I love Carmen.
I do too.
Me.
Well, we could have Carmen in a different capacity.
We need.
We could have her conducting
Right.
the orchestra.
It's not
We
like
could
we would
literally
lose
just
her.
have her as moral support, and I would be happy. I just
want her smiling and being like,
Oh my
hi, how
gosh.
are you?
She is a sweetheart. I
She
love her.
is. I wish she would be a little tougher on me sometimes. Like, hey, tell me when I'm terrible.
Right? You're like, I
don't
need the
trust
honest
you.
truth. Stop saying nice things. to me.
Yes, yes. Well, and she'll fix the problem.
She gassed me up hardcore for Usnavi, and I always appreciated that.
Yeah. Good.
I'm my hardest critic. I will always down myself.
Right.
And even now, like I can looking back, I'm like, I could have done better. I could have done better. But she was always like, no, you're doing great. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well,
What about you?
So during Little Women, I know I drove the girls crazy during the screaming fighting song, and actually was just them running on stage fighting with each other. I could never get my cue line in there right, but The worst miscue was not mine. It was a music cue also.
Oh man.
It was during Elf. And
Oh, I remember the story. I was not in this production of Elf.
No.
This was a different one.
Jordan was playing Buddy, and it was in our big song and dance number, and we started singing, and everything was going good, and the music stopped.
So she played Deb.
Oh my
And
gosh.
this was in Just Like Him.
And Jordan and I looked at each other. He gave me a little nod. I'm like, so we're doing this. We did the rest of the song and dance a cappella.
Just Like Him. Oh my God.
I
Not
can't imagine that. I mean, I can imagine you being like, yes, let's do this. But most actors in that moment would be like,
Yeah, and luckily she was with Jordan.
right. I'm like, the
who-
two of them together.
Yeah, Jordan can
Great.
handle it.
Grace goes, not exactly the choice I would have made, but you made it. You know, always make the best choice
Yes.
that you think
Right?
you're going to do,
Yeah.
right? So we went on with it, and we came off stage, and we just hugged each other, and just like, and of course they were filming.
Of course,
Of
that
course.
always happens on the night they
So when you
film.
see them setting up the camera before the show, you know it's going to go to hell.
Oh my gosh.
Well, then they did end up coming back just to
Yeah.
film that one in particular, but that was my, you know, can't believe that just happened right now.
I'm not a fan of matinees or filming on matinees. It's just me.
No.
Just, I'm not a fan. Like, I like the film later, but it's always, the filming day is always the day where like something goes awry.
Yeah. I think the second Saturday is the best time if you're going to
Agreed.
film
Yeah.
it for archive purposes.
Right.
Anyway, let's move on to the
Okay, so then our last question, again, we ask everyone this. If you, and for the record, you want to think of the first thing that comes in your head, because
Okay.
otherwise you're going to overthink it.
Okay.
You can only listen to one show for the rest of your life. You can listen to it as many times as you want, but only one show. I bet I already know your answer.
No, you don't.
What would it be and why?
It would be In the Heights.
Oh, shocking.
It would be.
Why, Marcelo?
Why, Marcelo?
Why? Because it's fun. It's not only that, my kids really love it. They are so in love with this show. They weren't as excited for Footloose or any other show. They've listened to all these Disney tracks, but In the Heights, these kids know word for word.
I love
And
that.
it's so fun just watching them, like, because they don't understand almost everything. You know, they're 11 and 8. But they love it, and it makes me happy. It's something that I relate to 100%, and it's catchy. I mean, it's I hold it near and dear too. So,
Lin-Manuel, man. Can't
Oh, man.
really go wrong.
Legend.
yeah.
So along with Lin-Manuel, I'd say Hamilton.
Really?
Because Hamilton, the way, that's one of the first things that came to my mind, because the music is so diverse, and you've got the rap, but you've got the songs, you've got the emotion, and the words do go fast a lot of times, and so there's always something that you've missed, but there's emotion. And it's the range from, one spectrum to the other. So I think I would say Hamilton.
What I like about both of those is they're both ones, and again, it's Lin-Manuel and how he writes, but
Right.
I could sit and listen to both of them and feel like I saw the show. Where I feel like sometimes when you're listening to the cast recording, you're like,
Out of context.
I feel like I missed something, or you don't understand the song until you see it live. I feel like, granted, there are songs in both of those that when you see it live, you're like, okay, that makes more sense. But you can just sit and listen to it.
Now, if I wanted to sing the whole song, then we're going Les Mis, we're going
Yes.
Phantom, we're going, because then I can hit the high song.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Ricky, be her Phantom.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's like, no.
I'm sorry.
Because I wasn't ready for that question.
Right? He was not. Well, I don't think he was ready for either of those answers.
I wasn't. I'm still reeling off of.
What do you think we would want to listen to show-wise?
I honestly, I wasn't surprised by yours because I know how much that show meant to you. I honestly thought you would choose something more classical. I
I
was.
knew you thought I would go.
Oh man.
Well,
okay.
but in Sound of Music, I could probably do the whole thing backwards and forwards, every part, because
Yeah.
I've listened to it so much. But finding those new things about a show, I've been obsessed with Waitress lately. You know,
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna ask you about any like contemporary new
Right.
theater that you've heard.
Waitress. I've been finding little bits and pieces of it. I still haven't seen the recorded version of it, but I'm trying to look for more recent shows to watch, to listen to, and to things like that.
Yeah,
You need to listen
On
to The
YouTube.
Notebook.
The Notebook. Peyton brought it to my attention anyway. Of how many books are being made into musicals. The Notebook, The Great Gatsby.
Really?
The Outsiders.
Yes. What? Yes, dude, The Outsiders.
Oh my gosh, the music in The Outsiders is so good.
Really? I can't
There's
believe
okay.
Okay.
So there's a fight scene.
Yeah, I was
There's a
gonna
fight
say.
The
Listen to
fight scene-
Peyton's episode.
Oh my god, the fight scene is. They say that it will like outbeat any West Side Story fight scene. It's raining. They built on the stage, so there's like gravel, and it's so choreographed that it's. I mean, it is the most amazing thing. I've only seen like clips of it, and I'm like,
so cool.
Yeah,
and the
wow.
music is so. Oh my god.
We were in Vegas just a few like 2 weeks ago, and we were watching The Outsiders at our hotel room, and I'm like,
Oh
yeah,
my
the movie.
gosh.
And now that they made it into
Yeah,
a
it's
musical,
in it,
that's
yeah.
so cool.
Warriors, come out and play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, the music is like amazing.
That's crazy. Oh,
I know you're gonna have to listen to it.
like
now.
I am. I'm gonna as soon as we're done here.
Right, literally. I mean, it's so good. It's the one I'm currently listening to. Like that and The Notebook. I go back and forth between the two of those right now.
Katie was telling me about The Notebook last night. She was saying she'd been watching that.
Yeah, and there's so many clips of that one, like of like backstage clips, not like obviously the actual show itself. But I'm like, if I could go to New York right now, I would be seeing those two shows.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would love to see just the fight scene from The Outsiders,
Right.
from what I've heard about
Yeah,
it. But
I mean the like 30-second clip I saw, I was like, I need to see that whole.
It's no Patrick Swayze, but I'll watch.
no, well,
Right? Right? I mean-
on the subject of fight scenes, real quick, I have to bring this up. The fight scene between Riff and Bernardo, not the Rumble, the opening fight sequence.
Yes.
Dude, Marcelo went, he was distracted. He was angry at life about something. I don't know what it was, but he took it out on me on stage
did.
during our fight scene.
I did.
And my chest was messed up for the whole run of the show.
No.
Like I ripped one of my pectoral muscles. It was bad.
And we rehearsed that so
Yeah, we did.
much.
Yeah, we did. It was carefully choreographed because safety first, and all the
Nah.
fight was not that
Yeah,
day.
Nope, that day.
Not
He was-
that day.
I'm like,
He
you
didn't
know,
leave his issues at the door.
No,
He brought it in.
and
the
in
theater.
mid scene, you can't be like, "Hey, Marcelo, are you okay?"
You're like, oh,
Instead,
man, what's going
I'm
on?"
just shouting out these slurs at him, and all I want to ask my friend is if he's okay.
Yeah, I remember that, and I remember I told you had a free pass.
Yeah, he apologized to me.
I apologize. I felt awful because I bruised him. I bruised
Yeah.
him, and I was like, you know what? You don't have to tell me when. You have a free pass anytime.
Has he ever cashed that free pass?
I don't think I
don't think he
did.
did.
I didn't only because.
It could still come. There's
It
still
could.
time.
Well, I didn't remember that till now. But you better hope we don't do a show together again.
Nah, I do. He catches his hands.
No, I literally have videos of us doing West Side Story
Yep.
rehearsals, and we are slow motion fighting. Like that's how you.
Yeah,
Safety
that was
first.
such a fun show. We got to meet Diego too. That was his first show.
There you go. Yeah.
I missed
Oh,
it.
he was great. Okay. Anyway, I'm not gonna go off about Diego. I love the guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we want to wrap this up, but because there's just way too much.
I'm like, we could talk
about.
We could.
Oh my gosh.
We'll make
But-
a part 2 soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll make
we'll
a
have
part
you
2
guys
soon.
back.
Yes, we might have to have you back individual spotlights.
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
But thank you so much for being here, Stephanie. You are just an inspiration in so many ways to me, and have been for 24 years. And I appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
I love you so much. I
love you too.
You're so good for my ego and my self-esteem.
And I'll just say, I am a sucker. Like, I am a sucker for good vocals on stage, and that is my biggest. Like, I don't care much about the other stuff, but if they can sing the role, I mean, I care about it. Stop! Don't look at me like that. But if they get, like, for me, I can get lost in it when the vocals are good, and with you, I always get lost in it because the vocals are always amazing. Even when you feel like you're not having a great day, like the vocals are always amazing, and I can just. I'm just in that space with you.
Yeah, like your vocals on your worst day are better than a lot of people's on their
Better
best
than
day.
Ricky's on his best day.
I wasn't gonna specify,
Word,
but
me too.
yes.
I mean,
Anyway, Marcelo, you want to feed her a compliment?
Absolutely. It was such an honor, and you'll always be abuela to me. You know, you're just that near and dear to me, and I hope we do more shows together.
Me too.
I really do.
Can we all three be on? All four of us.
I was
be
like,
on-
wow.
Sorry.
Fine, I'll just do craft services when you guys are on the show.
We
Ouch.
do. We do. I haven't done a show with Ricky in years. Was West Side our last one? No,
Oh man, I don't even know.
I think West Side was our last one.
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
Too long. West Side was it?
See, I'm
Forget
thankful. I've
about
done
it.
2 shows with Grace Arts, one with you and one with you. So now I just need to get Stephanie under my belt. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't lived until you've been on
I
stage.
mean,
with
I've
Stephanie.
sang with her, but I haven't been in a show.
Yeah. Oh gosh, and even though I've done shows with Stephanie, I was a little jealous of Marcelo because he got to act like with you, and you and I haven't had any of those like scenes together. I'm like,
I gotta find that message. He legit was like, "I'm so jealous."
I was
Oh,
like,
I
I'm
believe
jealous.
it.
I felt like I earned that. What did you do? Nothing.
You've been gone for so long.
You just want to waltz back in and take
Walk
my girl.
back in and take it.
This guy falls asleep as a puppeteer, and I get shafted.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, thank you, Stephanie, for being on here. Marcelo, thank you so much for joining
Thank you
us.
for having me.
Yeah.
We just
Thank you.
are so grateful for you guys being on stage and being a part of the theater family.
It's a family.
So I'll see you guys at audition soon, huh?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.